Please, you have to believe me. I didn't mean for this to happen. Just please help me.
She said it out loud before she realized she had. I need a husband by tomorrow. The words slipped from her mouth like a confession, raw and exposed, hanging in the air of the crowded restaurant asterisk. Plates froze halfway to tables. Forks paused mid-air. A few people laughed under their breath. Others looked away, embarrassed for her. The manager's face tightened with annoyance, not concern. And at the far corner table, a man with tired eyes slowly lifted his head. Her name was Lily Carter, and she had not planned to beg in front of strangers. But desperation does not knock. It kicks the door in. The restaurant smelled of hot oil and burnt coffee. Neon lights buzzed overhead, flickering just enough to make her head ache. Lily stood near the counter in a worn apron, her fingers clenched around a receipt so tightly it tore. She was 27, with soft brown hair pulled back too tight in dark circles under her eyes that no amount of sleep could fix. Tonight, they were darker than usual. The man who owned the building had given her an ultimatum that morning. Either prove she had a stable family household by tomorrow evening, or lose the small apartment above the shop. It was an old clause, cruel and outdated, but legal. He wanted married tenants. Lily had no parents left, no siblings, no partner. Just a 5-year-old boy waiting at daycare and a ticking clock. She had held herself together all day, through spilled drinks, through rude customers, through aching feet and a back that burned with every step. But when the dinner rush peaked and the pressure closed in, something inside her cracked. The manager hissed her name, telling her to get back to work. A couple at table 7 smirked. Someone muttered that she was being dramatic. The room moved on, leaving her alone in her need, except the man in the corner. He watched her not with pity, but with attention, like someone trained to notice when a structure was about to collapse. His name was Daniel Hale. Most people in the room did not know it. They did not know he owned half the block they were sitting on. They did not know he was one of the youngest self-made billionaires in the state. What they saw was a quiet man in a plain gray sweater, his posture straight but relaxed. His hands folded beside a glass of water he had not touched. Next to him sat a little girl, maybe 6, swinging her legs under the table, coloring carefully inside the lines. She glanced up at Lily with wide eyes, sensing the weight in the room. Daniel felt it too. He felt it in the same place he had felt other breaking points. Different setting. Same tension. Years ago, it had smelled like dust and metal instead of coffee and grease. Back then, the air had been thick with heat and fear. He had been younger, broader in the shoulders, his uniform heavy with sweat. He remembered the sound of his boots on cracked ground. The way silence could scream louder than chaos. Daniel had served 8 years in the military. He had learned how quickly life could change without warning, how people broke in quiet ways. He had watched strong men crumble and gentle ones rise. He had lost friends whose names he still said in his head when he could not sleep. After the service, he had built an empire with discipline and focus. But he had never forgotten how it felt to stand helpless while someone else was ignored. That memory had never left him. His wife had died during childbirth. The doctors had spoken softly, carefully, like words could cushion loss. He had held his newborn daughter with hands that had once steadied rifles, and nothing had ever felt heavier. Since then, he had learned how to live with grief without letting it harden him. He had learned the power of staying calm when everything else burned. Back in the restaurant, Lily wiped her eyes quickly, ashamed. She apologized, even though no one had accused her of anything. She turned back toward the counter, ready to swallow the humiliation and keep working. That was when the man stood up. It was not dramatic. No chair scraped loudly. No one gasped. He simply rose, smooth and steady, like he had all the time in the world. The manager opened his mouth, ready to scold another customer for causing trouble. Then he saw Daniel's face. Something about it made him hesitate. Daniel walked toward Lily, every step measured. He stopped at a respectful distance. The room felt different now, quieter. Not because he demanded it, because his presence asked for it. He spoke calmly, his voice low but clear. I can help. Lily blinked, unsure she had heard him right. Help how? Daniel looked at her, really looked at her. He saw exhaustion layered over courage. He saw a woman who had been strong for too long without relief. He nodded once. Marry me tomorrow. A laugh burst from the back of the room. Someone whispered that it had to be a joke. Lily felt her cheeks burn. She shook her head, stepping back. I do not even know your name. Daniel offered a small smile. Daniel, and I know this sounds impossible, but it does not have to be forever. It just has to get you through tomorrow. The manager scoffed, folding his arms. This is inappropriate. Sir, you cannot. Daniel turned his head slightly. Not aggressive, not rude. Just firm. I am not causing a scene. I am solving a problem, the manager faltered. Something in Daniel's tone reminded him of authority that did not need to announce itself. Lily's heart raced. Her mind screamed warnings. Stranger. Risk. What if? But behind those fears was something else. A quiet sense of safety she could not explain. Why would you do this? She asked. Daniel glanced back at his daughter, watched him with trust shining in her eyes. Then he looked at Lily again because no one should be forced to beg just to keep. A roof over their child's head, silence spread through the room. The laughter died. The whispers stopped. The next day came faster than Lily expected. She barely slept. Her son clung to her that morning, sensing the tension. The courthouse smelled like old paper and cleaning solution. Lily wore a simple dress borrowed from a neighbor. Daniel arrived in a clean shirt and jacket, holding his daughter's hand. There was no crowd, no spectacle, just signatures, a judge with kind eyes, a quiet agreement between two people who understood stakes. As they stepped outside, the sun felt brighter than it had in weeks. The landlord arrived late, smug and confident, ready to watch Lily fail. His smile faded when he saw the documents. When he saw Daniel's name, he recognized it instantly. His face drained of color. He stammered an apology that felt too small, too late. Daniel did not gloat. He did not threaten. He simply nodded once, acknowledging the moment had passed. Lily expected the world to snap back into place, to feel strange or wrong. Instead, she felt steady. Over the following weeks, the arrangement became something unexpected. Daniel helped with daycare pickup. Lily cooked dinner when she could. The children laughed together, filling spaces that had once echoed. They talked late at night sometimes. About loss? About fear. About the quiet strength it takes to keep going when no one claps for you. Daniel never rushed her, never claimed more than they agreed. His respect was constant, unspoken. One evening, Lily asked him why he never told anyone who he really was. Daniel looked out the window, watching the city lights. Power does not need noise. The strongest things rarely shout. Another night, Lily confessed how close she had been to giving up, how ashamed she had felt asking for help. Daniel answered without judgment. Asking for help is not weakness. Staying silent until the right moment is strength. Months passed. The marriage no longer felt temporary, not because of obligation, but because of choice. Lily found herself smiling more. Her son slept better. Daniel's daughter called her bonus mom without being prompted. When the landlord tried to raise rent unfairly, the tenants stood together. Daniel stood with them quietly. The policy changed. At the restaurant, the manager treated Lily differently now, with respect, with caution, but she no longer needed his approval. One evening, the restaurant was full again. The same neon lights, the same smell of coffee. Lily moved with confidence now, her posture straight, her eyes clear. A young waitress froze near the counter, overwhelmed on the edge of tears. Lily stepped beside her, steady and calm. "You are not alone," she said softly. At the corner table, Daniel watched, pride warming his chest. The room felt lighter, not because of wealth, not because of power, but because someone had stood up when it mattered. And sometimes is all it takes to change everything. Oh, you tarot reflections, some battles are loud. Others are fought in silence. This story is a reminder that dignity does not beg and strength does not shout. If this story moved you, share where you are watching from and what moment stayed with you. Subscribe for more stories that honor quiet courage and unseen strength.